there's something that, like, we got sent some photos from a media event, nothing to do with tech. It was to do with football. My son was at a media event getting photos taken by the press, and we got sent all of the photos in a Dropbox. And I accessed it on my email on the 17 Pro Max, and I downloaded it from Dropbox. And I thought, sweet, let me go look at the photo. So I jumped into the Photos app, went looking for where this photo is in the Photos app, and it's not there.
Welcome back to Minus 16, the tech podcast, where we come at you every 2 weeks with the latest from the world of tech, and also, of course, what it's like in the real world to run a YouTube channel. And just as I get going, there's producers talking to me. It turns out Daniel bought an iPhone and didn't like it. Now, don't worry, we've got him in therapy. We're going to get him through these troubled waters. He's a close friend. He's very dear to us, and we understand what he's going through for the sake of his art. So, Daniel, we can only thank you, but we will see you through this time.
It's all for science.
So, as you will understand, Daniel has been busy with an iPhone, and I've just started watching his video. Now, I came into the studio early today to begin doing some background research and getting used to what everyone's saying. And Daniel's video looks like it's going to be a really interesting long watch. It's a 50-minuter, but to his credit, it looks like he's really gone in without trying to score points. You've just gone in. Oh, and Alex, by the way, is with us on an audio only at the moment. Alex is stuck in the car. Alex, are you there? Are you going to...
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's going to be a bit crackly, but I'll be back in the studio soon.
So Alex will be joining us, but for the first part, I think it's going to be Daniel and I just having a good chat about... I mean, there's really no need for me to preface it. We might as well just get straight into it, yeah? You've got yourself an iPhone Pro Max or Pro?
Yep.
Pro
Max.
Pro Max. And after watching my video yesterday, it looks like you're going to go and buy yourself an Air this weekend as well. Good luck with that. So I was really interested to hear your take on it, because I know that you're coming at it, and that's what I really like. You're actually coming at it from a very unbiased point of view. You're not just trying to score points on it. You're looking at what it's genuinely like to use an iPhone up against somebody that's really used to One UI and Samsung and the whole Android life. Now, we were having a little chat before we started recording. So what would be your first takeaways then? When you picked it out of the box and started using it, where did you go with it?
Oh, I did a whole, I guess you'd say, switching first impressions video, and immediately I was trying to set it up as a new phone. I found quite a few frustrations in Apple's setup process. That's another thing altogether. I don't need to go too much into that. Once the phone's set up and you start to use it, you really start to see the actual different ideologies that Apple have in building software versus Samsung's approach to building software. As much as people say they copy each other, and they do, there is definite instances where you can see inspiration from each other's sides, but their fundamental approach into how you use a phone is different on each side of the fence.
Okay, so highlight some of the initial differences I mean, I know, again, we had a little chat, so I've got an idea what you might be getting to, but what do you think the fundamental or the rudimentary differences that Apple has as their vision compared to Samsung are then, from a user experience?
It's who controls the experience. With iPhones or with iOS, Apple very heavily control the user experience. They, for example, the back swipe gesture, I said this to you off air before we started, swiping back only exists on one side of the screen, and it's app dependent. And I guess it's part of their platform, so apps build it in, developers have to build it in, but it's very tightly controlled on one side of the screen. If you try and swipe back from the other side of the screen, like if you're holding it in your right hand and you don't want to reach across, then you can't do it. All right? That's a fixed way of interacting. Whereas with One UI's approach, and I guess some other Android manufacturers too, the experience to navigate around your phone is kind of left open. You can use a back swipe gesture on one side or the other. You can change it to navigation buttons if you don't want to have gestures. If you prefer the tactile buttons approach, you've got that approach as well. Like there's just more ways to control the experience for yourself and suit it to how you like to use a phone.
So my initial reaction to that was, for my kind of compartmentalized, tidy little brain, I like the fact that I know it's just one way to do things. But that could be because I've grown up in that ecosystem for so many years now, and I'm conditioned to it. Maybe I haven't been exposed to another way of doing it, but I kind of like that tidiness. But from what you're saying then with One UI, you can very much tailor it to your needs, to what you want, to how you... So is the whole Android experience more of the geeky, nerdy, I can tailor this to exactly how I want it to be? Whereas with Apple and iOS, it's kind of out the box is what you get. That's the way we use it.
Yeah.
One and done.
Pretty much. I think another good example that I raised in my comparison video is that, for example, the display settings. Like, it's such a basic thing, but on Samsung's display, you can go into the settings menu, you have display settings, and you can tailor the color profile of how the display looks. You've got vivid, you've got natural, and then within vivid, you've got sliders and adjustments and advanced settings.
Right,
You can change the color profile to make it more punchy or more natural. And then I went looking for something like that in Apple's because I noticed the display is a little bit flat in color profile. It's not as vibrant as... Yeah, I really did think that next to the Samsung display, especially with the vibrant setting turned on, it looked a little flat in profile. So I was like, okay, let's see if I can fix this. But there's nothing in display settings to change or tune that, right? There's no added toggles, nothing. It's what you get out of the box is what you have to put up with. And that's just part of what I didn't quite... I understand it because I know the user base. Like, I was speaking to people today and they don't care. I'm like, well, what chipset's in your phone? I don't know. What displays are you using? I don't know. They don't care. They don't care fundamentally. So it's like, well, why are we letting them choose when they might break it? Because if they touch a toggle and it does something they don't want it to do, then they got upset. So let's just leave it and we'll control it.
That much is certainly, I mean, possibly that's part of the reason why, apart from the whole, I know we're having a really sort of grown-up discussion about it today, and I really like that. So we're putting aside the marketing of Apple. Perhaps that's why iOS is so popular, because it is simplified. This is how you do it. We don't give you an option. You will pick it up. It will work. I know I saw one of your tweets about it just works. But, I could think the kind of ethos behind where iOS is at, that it is just this very simple, and everyone's so familiar with it now. So many people have grown up only using an iPhone. That iOS from year to year to year, even now with this new look, it's still very familiar as to what they're going to do with it. So maybe that's part of its popularity. And equally, from what you just said to that point, it's very true. I was out on a shoot for a couple of days this week, and people picking the phone up, and even the camera control button, which we all have either moaned, loved, hated, ignored, whatever, it was this new, what's this button? People, we don't realise how uninterested most people are in the tech that we're looking at, reviewing, and picking up every small nuance and detail of. It doesn't matter to them. These people were using iPhone 11s, and they thought, obviously I was showing them the Air, and it's like this state-of-the-art thing that they suddenly had in their hands. And we forget just quite how old a lot of the devices that people are using day to day still are. So, we're thinking we're bringing something new. When people out in the world see it, it's just shockingly different. But maybe I need to get my hands on a Samsung and actually try to, do the flip flop of what you've done.
Yeah,
and see how I get on with it.
I think a flagship slab Samsung would probably be the best one to try that with, because the thing I sort of realized with both is that a lot of the iOS features that, people talk about, like there's one I figured out where if you do a screenshot and you hold down the thumbnail of the screenshot, you can drag it into a messages app and drop it in. Oh, wow, that's actually pretty intuitive. And then I tried the literal exact same thing on One UI, and it did it like that. I was like, okay.
So something you didn't know about.
Something I didn't, I knew multitasking existed, like I could drag and drop, and there's some other things that sort of Samsung introduced. But it's like, well, Apple probably have this stranglehold where they all think that's the only phone that can be done on, and it exists elsewhere. Plus, then you get the added benefits of all the other stuff that Samsung get. But the visuals are probably, for me, what separates the two, like what I was speaking to you about. There's a lot of visual animation and fluidity and just touches that go on that I would say give people an emotional feel. Like if you see the apps populate on the home screen, you get that sort of is a feeling it gives you that no other phone really does give you, which is like that's a visual, aesthetically pleasing to look at. You were going to say something, Alex?
Yes, and apologies for the audio quality.
Maybe.
I was just going to say the one thing I would, I have used iOS since the first one, right? And I think this year was the first time I actually disconnected from iPhone for 6 months, effectively, since April. And coming back to it and experiencing the new iOS, I do appreciate what they've done, though. I know the look is a bit, you kind of a bit Marmite. But functionality-wise, they have added quite a lot in comparison to the previous version. iOS 18, I think it was, right? And they jumped to 26. But I have noticed a lot of useful stuff, even like basic things like how apps deal with files and how easy it is now to find files on the iPhone, or easier. But I like to...
You can't see my face here, but I'm really screwing it up.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe just kick off the conversation and let you guys fight it. But what do you guys think about the camera?
Overhyped. Hugely
I haven't
overhyped.
had much chance yet with the Pro Max. The Pro Max is going to be my next. I've been living with the Air, so I haven't had much time to play with the Pro Max. Obviously, I've got a
Does
fairly
the Air
good
have a
idea what
camera?
it's going to be like compared to last. Well, you don't have a choice. I'll grant you that. But the camera that it has, I've been pretty happy with. Yeah, I mean, I took it out. It was. I decided just to go and use the thing, and it's only by using it, as we all know, that you find out the good and the bad, the design faults, and if we're going to briefly talk about the Air, I would say for the kind of person that's going to use that, it's a point and shoot. It's somebody that's interested in beautiful aesthetics, clean, lovely, simple lines, and it's going to do its job. You're going to pick it out of your pocket, and it's going to take good photos. Are they professional level? No. But then again, I think part of the beauty of that phone is it's not trying to be something it's not. And going through my comments this morning, it seems that everybody's beginning to come on board now. In actual fact, it's not as bad as we heard it was going to be. And I think everyone was prepared for it to be so poor.
Are you getting...
And the battery...
before you go into the battery, Dave, sorry. Are you getting people saying, for example, they went to the store to buy the Pro and ended up buying the Air? My
Yes.
God, there's so many.
Yes,
and I'm thinking, am I not seeing something here? Because honestly, I think Apple missed a huge opportunity with the Air. Fantastic design. Granted, that's an incredible thing to accomplish. Not that different to the Edge. But it's only when you start, after a few days of using it. I mean, I actually, for me, it was like the first few hours. I was like, yeah, you do need a battery like next to the phone. Hence why they announced it immediately, that battery pack. But I just can't. There's too many limitations. There's too many limitations for me. As and everywhere you look is the same. The camera, it's an awesome device to use, and it had so much potential to be like the iPhone to recommend. But I look at the regular 17 Pro, which is light, is not as thin, granted, but I've got two cameras. I've got a little bit more of a battery life in there, and I don't know. I can't recommend it just based on if it was like $700 or £750 or whatever, I would probably say yes. I recommend it, but not for $1,000. Not for $1,000.
It's interesting, this battery life thing, because what I decided to do, and I think, Daniel, you may have seen it, I kind of set off in the car and showed live screenshots of my whole journey. So I set off at 11 o'clock with 95%, through to 9:15 at night, when I showed that the phone was telling me I'd used it 75% more than normal. I'd had just under 4 hours of screen on time. I'd used it for sat-nav in the car, streaming podcasts, streaming music, taking phone calls, using it for sat-nav around the town, walking. So it had a heavy day, and I still had 22% left with no charge. Because somebody asked me on the comments today, did you charge in between? I said, no. Honestly, what you're seeing was just one charge from 11 o'clock in the morning to 7:15. So I had 8 hours.
Tell you what killed it.
All but 4 hours of screen on.
The video, so if you record 4K video and 5G.
Yeah, I was doing 4K because obviously I was doing a lot of recording tests as well. So that's the thing. It had, for me, and this was the first couple of days, so it's got all its learning cycles to go through. I honestly thought going down the motorway, I was going to get screwed. I thought that I'm going to run out of juice. I'm going to have to switch over to the Pro Max to get me through. And it didn't. It got me through. Because I was taking a lot of video for the sake of making the video itself. So I can't think of anything more I can throw at it. And it did a job. Again, it's only my experience was it actually lasted well. The Edge is just, I don't know. Funny enough, the only thing with the camera control button is it's perfectly placed insofar as your thumb hits it, but because there's nowhere else on the phone for your thumb, because it is the thickness of the phone. But every time I picked it up, I was kind of launching it, so I might have to remap that. I'm not sure. Because the Edge is the same sort of price, right? But I know you're going to say it's got more features.
I will say that, and yes, it is the same sort of price. But I think to sort of brag about the Edge having more features will defeat the purpose of what the conversation is really about. And that the person buying a phone that's thin and light isn't buying a phone because of how many cameras it has.
Exactly.
I would just say that if you are buying a thin and light phone, then you get more value from the Edge because it does give you ultra wide. You get a proper main camera, a flagship main camera, and you get things like a vapor chamber, and the battery is bigger, but I think the A19 and everything like that negates that anyway. So I don't think that's going to be an advantage. But the actual stuff you get from the Edge offers
and
you
that's
more.
faster USB speed as well, right? Because the USB on the
yes,
Air
USB,
is
yes, because it supports
ridiculous.
DeX and stereo speakers as well. Yeah, USB 2.
Yeah, but then do you use your port for data transfer much?
I use it for Samsung DeX all the time, which is kind of data transfer and
okay,
displays, which USB 2 wouldn't support.
No, and valid enough. That's why I was suddenly saying to use it because I don't use mine for data, but then I haven't got the ability to do a DeX kind of a thing. So
yeah,
because I made that point in one of the videos saying, well, who uses their ports for data, but I hadn't really given it that thought. The last time I used the port for data,
people will notice it when they are restoring from backup. That will be one. If they're not kind of prepared to wait hours to download via Wi-Fi, and they want to do it via plug into the Mac, that speed to restore from backup would be horrendous.
Yeah, Samuel Nam last week said the same. He said that it took ages to.
You may as well set up as a
restore from backup
as a new phone. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He set it up as new. Yep, that's what he did. Yeah,
I know he was messaging me a couple of times during the week saying he would fall in love with the Air though. Samuel,
he has that way about him, like he will love a piece of technology and appreciate it for what it is, not for what it should be. I think he understands that he's in a position that not everyone else will be in. That he can appreciate that phone, but it's not going to be for everyone because the right person should just buy the 17 if they want an iPhone because it's got. They won't care about weight. They want a better camera. They want a better battery. Like that'll be what they should get.
I'll tell you what I'm impressed though. Just moving on from the Air, is the raw photo on the iPhone and the telephoto cameras on the Pro Max. But I'm curious to see what Daniel thinks as well, because obviously we've got equivalent, not exactly the same, but equivalent settings on the S25 Ultra.
So I did my camera
just
comparison.
As a little run into that.
Yeah,
you were talking also about the design. You were sort of saying that the iPhone was kind of messy and threw switches everywhere. And I've never really given that a thought. I didn't realise that there's so many until you said it. I didn't realise there were so many buttons on the iPhone, and that was interesting. I was sitting watching it. Oh yeah, I didn't realise we're actually quite button heavy.
Yeah, you can accidentally hit a button. And I'm accidentally hitting buttons all the time. Like I'm accidentally always hitting the camera control button
because your muscle memory isn't tuned to it, is it? So
yeah, and sometimes also, but I guess because with the S25 Ultra, when you grip the phone at the bottom half, there's nothing there. There's no buttons. There's nothing there to press. And it's just clean on one side, and that's kind of my muscle memory. Whereas the iPhone, you've got volume on one side, then you've got the action button, then camera control, and then the Siri button and power button. Like there's a lot of visual cues and physical cues that exist. And then the Pro Max this year on the back, like the thing that saves it for me from the design is the color. I love the blue. Like should be no surprise that I love.
I mean, I know
should be
the two-tones.
No surprise that I love the blue because I've got blue phones. The two, I don't know, David. I really don't know.
I like it. I gotta say, I think it. I don't know. It kind of just pops. I went for the orange, and I think it works.
Well, yeah. So let's go to the cameras because
go to the cameras.
I have a lot of thoughts here.
The floor is yours.
I like the 24 megapixel standard option. I think that is a much better use of the camera resolution than having high resolution but defaulting to 12, because that 24 megapixel is evident when you compare it next to the 12. The details in fibers of shirts, foreground of things like grass, you absolutely notice that there. But then the processing of standard mode lets the whole thing down for me. I think everything is looking very, very, very flat in their imagery. I haven't noticed much vibrance, and I've tried the vibrance mode, but I didn't really like it. It was a bit off, the photographic style vibrancy mode. But then the camera processing standard, I don't know. There's something that just didn't look right for me in the image. And then I had the Samsung, which was maybe a bit contrasty. The shadow areas were very dark, but there was life. The grass was green, the trees were green. It just felt a bit more lifelike or a bit more vibrant. But then photos of people, the iPhone has that nailed. Like, they have got skin tones and detail of faces and clothes absolutely down pat. It is by far the best camera to take photos of people. But photos of landscapes and photos of scenery, Samsung crushes them, I think, in a big way, in a way that you'd be like uploading to social media and be like, I'd prefer that photo over that one just because of that.
I mean, I was scrubbing through your video. I saw there was a part where you were doing a load of looking
side by
between
side,
the two. Yeah. I was just trying to go back to that tab now. Because I saw that you were looking at, so that's obviously what you're talking about there, the differences in the greens. So
like video was what I noticed it a lot. Like, if you look at that one on the 17 Pro Max, it looks flat, like, whereas the video on the right,
and they're completely native camera apps. You've not done anything
native
weird
camera apps, 4K 30, nothing else done to it, out of the box, right?
Okay, yeah.
And like, even though it's a bit darker on Samsung in the shadow areas, I just feel like it's more vibrant. There's more life to it. I was actually really surprised that the Apple was like that. I really thought that the iPhone, everyone talked about its video prowess, and immediately I noticed that, Samsung's not too far away here. And in most scenarios, I actually prefer the output processing that Samsung offer. Then you've got ProRes and log and stuff that you can bump up to. But then I did compare logs between each other, and both of them color graded pretty good. Like, and with the file size being less on Samsung's log 2, at least you're not taking up as much storage space. I don't know. I was actually surprised. I was walking in expecting to be blown away by the iPhone's camera app and the output. And I actually was like, you know what? Samsung's not too far away from where Apple are with video.
Would you say then that you're thinking that the iPhone has still marginally got the edge from a video point of view? Not so much necessarily camera, but from a video. And because you just said that Samsung isn't that far behind now, and you kind of suggested that you were pleasantly surprised with how near they are.
Yeah, I think the iPhone, whilst the processing isn't my preference, I think there's more attention to detail with things with video, like focusing, like the ability to sort of swiftly move between focusing of things in the foreground, things in the background. Like, they have a nice attention to detail there. And then the ProRes stuff is also really powerful, which you don't have that. There's a rumor, or not a rumor, they confirmed it on stage that the next Snapdragon chip is going to support APV video formatting, which apparently is like a ProRes equivalent that's going to be on Android phones starting from next year. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like on S26 Ultra. But for now, I think I was surprised just in the sense that I expected the iPhone video to be this proper professional, like, this is better than anything else. But I was actually like, okay, you could use a Samsung as a video creator and you'll still be fine. You'll still be happy with your output. But yeah, the output, the other stuff is just that attention to detail with the little things when it comes to video. Like, I'll give you an example. Action mode. Action mode, you can use any camera up to 8 times, right? Samsung only give you super steady, which is the same mode, but up to 2x. You can't go further. Or like dual recording, which Samsung have. You can use only up to the 3 times camera. And even though dual capture is a bit of a fast of a feature, it's, for me, I know you saw you use it on your iPhone Air video, but for me it's limited because dual recording offers you that plus more. That's another story. But Samsung only offer you up to 3x. iPhones, the iOS 26 with the 17 Pro give you up to 8. So if Apple put a feature in for a video feature, they'll let you use everything for the camera, as opposed to, this camera lens isn't supported for whatever reason. If
it's there throughout the whole.
Yes,
baked in.
At least for the 17 Pro.
I was going to say that's true for photos as well. In Expert RAW, you lose, when you go up to 50 megapixel Expert RAW, you lose some of the focal length as well. Whereas the iPhone,
you lose the
48 megapixel RAW. Yeah, they still let you keep, all the telephotos, which is good.
That's only this year, right? Because last year there was a camera that wasn't 48 megapixels. Is that right? The 5 times camera last year was only 12 with the 16 Pro Max.
Yeah. Jump this year that everything's now 48.
But then the camera modes are another thing that I found really interesting, because Apple give you the camera modes down the bottom, but there's very limited things you can do within the camera modes. Whereas if you go to Samsung, like, you can shoot RAW on iPhone, but there's no way to control the output. Like, you can't tweak or tinker or give yourself a different aesthetic with the RAW photo. You have to do it all in editing. Whereas you can shoot a RAW photo in Pro mode and you've got all of the settings. You've got shutter speed, exposure value that you can change to suit the scene yourself if you know what you're doing in there. Whereas again, it's that thing of iPhones and Apple saying, hey, we know you don't know what you're doing, so we're going to control this for you. Like, you just turn it on and let us take care of it.
Which I guess is where photographic styles kick in and so on. I mean, see, I would argue that
I wasn't impressed with them.
I don't use them.
I wasn't impressed with them.
I would argue that if you're shooting in Pro RAW and you're looking for Pro level photos, that surely you would take it to a Pro editing app. I would always edit in Lightroom. Always. I wouldn't think of trying to edit on. So I don't know if there's necessarily a case for Apple baking that into iOS, because I wouldn't want to edit it there. I want to have the full option to use masks and whatever I want to do in Lightroom.
Think about this, right? Yeah, Scott, you go, Alex.
Just an example to kind of counter a little bit what David's saying. Yes, if you're happy with the photo, you're looking at the viewfinder and you're going to edit it, that's absolutely what most people would do. But I think there are situations, if you're a pro, I mean, I rarely do this, but I can see the use case where someone wants to get it right on camera before you edit. So and an example of that would be long exposure shots, for example. That you can't really edit that later. You have to get it right. And you can do, actually, the camera control button is probably the best use for tinkering with that. You can kind of half press it and then tinker a little bit of the effects there. But what I've been recommending is to use something like a Leica app, which is gives you all of those controls and is very easy to use as well. There is a subscription to it, unfortunately, but it's the best one I've found so far that lets you tinker a little bit more closely to what Samsung does.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think about on iPhone, and I think I make this point a little bit too, is that on iPhones, if there's not an app, Apple don't tend to make a lot. They kind of leave it bare, and then you have to get other apps, and you have to know what you're looking for. Like, you have to go searching the App Store to find an app that's suitable. And that's great because developers support Apple, but on Android side of the fence, and particularly in Samsung, developers don't support it. So Samsung's kind of left to end up having to build a lot of stuff natively themselves. That's why they have a Pro mode, a Pro video, and that's why they built stuff like Expert RAW. Because in Expert RAW, you can there's an astrophotography mode, there's an astro portrait mode, there's virtual ND filter in there, there's virtual aperture in there. You've got 24 megapixel as the default resolution in Expert RAW. Why they don't use that in the native camera app, I never understand it, because it's actually really good. But that app is something that I guess they built in response to the fact that no one is building and optimizing pro camera apps for Samsung. So they're just like, well, we'll just make one ourselves. That's kind of what Samsung's approach always has to be, is because no one goes and develops for their platforms. So Samsung's like, well, I guess we'll just make it all native. And that's what I like. I like that approach for some reason. Like, I vibe with that.
I know you made that point on the podcast last time. I said something alluding to that, and you said, yeah, because nobody supports Android. You know, we have to wait for years. I think it might have been Black Magic or something we were talking about. Immediately coming out and supporting whatever iOS, whatever they announce, either at WWDC or at the iPhone event. And day one, Black Magic are there supporting in DaVinci, and you can edit to your heart's content. I still haven't tried in video, in Final Cut now, the Pro Res 2, I think we've got. I know it's a new feature because Final Cut threw me one this week badly. I was, as you can imagine, I spent 2 days out shooting. I got back and just needed edit, and none of my Macs would launch Final Cut. They were both stuck on splash screens of audio units. I got around it in the end, but there's all these updates, and part of it was because of this new Pro Raw 2. So I got completely stuffed by Final Cut this week, which lost me a couple of hours that I could really do without this week. But I'm interested to try that because I've watched some photographers' videos, and they're saying we've got more control in white balance now, and so I want to have a little play with that and see how that works. I mean, this week's video I actually recorded on the native camera app on the Pro Max, the 17 Pro Max, and I risked it. I used the AirPods Pro 3 as my microphones, and they did.
Wasn't it funny to see Linus's video where he couldn't find the setting to turn on the video recording with the microphone from the AirPods? I felt every bit of that, because that's exactly how I feel about Apple's settings, is that it's not immediately obvious where, you'd imagine that would be something that would be in the
video settings.
Itself.
Yeah.
Or in the even in the camera app. Like, I know that they've got separate camera settings that's not part of the camera app, and that baffles me to no end. But there's not even a toggle in the camera app to turn that on or off. Like, that was so confusing for me. And if it's not there, it should be in the camera settings, which can be easy to access. I felt every bit of that so much, because that's pretty much been how I felt this week.
And the question I've got on that is, why the hell aren't they making Apple Intelligence, easy so you can ask just in plain English? Because, that's the one thing they have control of. Everything is on device, and everything is Apple. So that's the one thing I think, get rid of the settings and just let us ask in plain English, like, do this, do that. But yeah, don't get me started on Apple Intelligence, by the way. It still hasn't improved.
There's nothing to start. There's nothing to start. The main thing I took away from Apple Intelligence is the only real thing that they have to offer in there is the writing tools. That's it. Everything I've noticed is the writing tools. In Apple Notes, writing tools. In websites, if you want to clip some text, writing tools. That's the sort of thing that I really notice, is that's the big draw card there. They've got Playground, and they've got this thing called notification summaries, which I found interesting in a way. But outside of that, it's just writing tools. That's their main advantage of Apple Intelligence, and that's like the most basic function of it.
And they actually made Playground worse. I've tried it, and it's actually went backwards for me.
Did it? Oh, okay. I didn't know what it was like before, so I got no reference.
I'll put it in my review, but it's definitely they made it worse, and the photo editing is still absolutely horrendous.
The Photos app. Okay, David, you mentioned before about file management, or someone said file management. I think it was
Alex
might have been you,
Alex. Yeah.
There's something that, like, we got sent some photos from a media event, nothing to do with tech. It was to do with football. My son was at a media event getting photos taken by the press, and we got sent all of the photos in a Dropbox. And I accessed it on my email on the 17 Pro Max, and I downloaded it from Dropbox. And I thought, sweet, let me go look at the photo. So I jumped into the Photos app, went looking for where this photo is in the Photos app, and it's not there. I'm like, where's this photo downloaded to? And I scrolled, I looked for albums. There's no download album in the Photos app. It doesn't exist. And I was just scrolling for all the photos, and I'm like, this isn't here. And then I went and did the same thing on the Ultra. And I thought, okay, I'll just download it on my Samsung. And immediately it went straight to the Recents tab in my gallery. First photo there. because the gallery on Samsung reads the Files app where the photos get downloaded to, and then automatically syncs it up into the gallery to show me any photo image that's on the phone. It reads it. Whereas the Photos app on iOS, it doesn't do that. It saves it to this other app called Files, which there's no way of then sending that to Photos from there, and it's stuck in there. I'm like, well, this is pointless. This is such a waste to be in here. I want it with my photo
files.
Yeah,
you can save it to device and files. I think so. I'm pretty certain you can, because I've had Dropbox links sent through.
Just playing devil's advocate, because I think that is a Dropbox issue to not recognize
anything
the photo as a photo.
Everything that I tried to download from other links, like if I sent myself a OneDrive link or if I sent myself a Samsung Cloud link, whenever I downloaded that image, it didn't save it to Photos. And I just saw there, if I hit the share button, I can hit save to, where'd it go? It's gone now. I saw a share button where I can hit save to something, and then it saved it.
I think it saves to device, and then it picks up the camera from the Photos app from there. Because I do that all of the time, kind of in Lightroom as well. You know, it's when I finish, if I've edited something on the Mac, then I'll pick up the phone, see the photo I've just edited, and it's, you know, so that bit, again, that could be, I mean, I'll take my hat off to you. You've done a pretty deep dive into iOS in a week.
I've tried to find as much of the things that I think I use my Samsung and see if it can be replicated and see what the differences are. And there's just some things that I found. And I mean, if anyone says the Photos app in iOS is good, you need to have a talking to, because it is. I don't get it. I don't get it.
We've all mentioned ProRes video. Do you guys shoot in ProRes outdoors, away from the studio? And do you use filters?
I did a whole day yesterday of that, yeah.
With filters?
No filters. I know you can probably use a monitor as well, but no, I just straight into an SSD.
No, it's just ND filters and so on, because I was just struggling. When I was filming the other day, I was going to shoot in ProRes, but it was just so bright. I didn't have any NDs with me, and I just couldn't get the exposure. I was using the Blackmagic app, and I just couldn't get, you know, anything near useful.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the ProRes won't impact it, because I think it is because the viewfinder is a bit washed out when you're doing that, right? Is that why?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not actually that bright. The brightness issue will be when you're trying to record, you know, something that is I don't know, f1.2 and the background is washed out. I think just pure ProRes recording has very little impact on the output. But yeah, it's just the ND filters will come handy when you're doing like long exposure shots.
Okay, that's something I need to play with then.
There's one before we move on from the phone. There's one part I need to praise, because one part I'm in love with, the selfie camera. That square selfie camera is a game changer. A game changer as a content creator.
Have you been using it then? Have you been using it?
Yes, I have. It was in, like, I found myself, and it's very weird to say this, I found myself, if I needed to quickly insert something into a video, like a correction or like something, an additional thought, I've probably 3 or 4 times now used that as the camera to film, because it's 4K 30. It isn't the best quality in terms of processing. It's not the same as using like a main camera on the iPhone or like an Ultra or the Fold, but it's passable enough that it's quick and easy, and you can just hold on to the phone in a natural way. So whether it be on the go, whether you're outdoors, I've used it frequently. Big fan of it.
That's the one thing I haven't played. I've started to use it a little bit, but I haven't played around with it an awful lot yet. But that's something I want to begin looking into. And I think on this week's Pro Max video, I'll get further into that. I mean, I did try changing the orientation. It works seamlessly. It really does seem that. And I've said it in a couple of times now, that I'm sure that both Samsung and Google will follow on that next year. They're going to take up on that. I'm sure they are.
It probably would be too late for this launch, but I can't see anyone not doing this like in the future. It's actually really clever, and I know it's been done. It's probably been done as rear cameras, but in the way that they've done it and allowed it,
what do you like? The fact that you can change the orientation so simply without changing the phone. You can just hold it in one position and
100%. That for me is that type of clever thing that I haven't really seen much else from in the phone, if I'm honest. That clever ability to make something be functional in ways more than just the one way that it was intended for. Like that. That's why I love the Fold. That's why I love the Ultra with the S Pen. Like that's why I love things that do more than just one thing.
Yeah, and I think I said it last time before I'd had hands-on with it. That was just a glimmer of Apple getting back to what they used to do. And I do think that the whole tech world is just in a decent place at the moment. I mean, you seem really happy with what Samsung are bringing to you and what potentially they're bringing with the 26s as well. And I think Apple, because again, I'm loving the fact of hearing this side of you, that I think you've taken a look at Apple now. We know they went through a real low tide point. And I think that beating has served them well. You're never going to see them eating humble pie in public, but I think you can tell with orders like that, they didn't need to bother bringing that feature. No one would have noticed it had it not been there. But the fact they bought it there shows, okay, we can offer people something. We know the selfie camera is hugely important to a massive amount of the demographic that are buying our phone. The TikTokers, this is hugely important. Let's give them something we can hook them on. And that's the good side. That is when their engineers are coming up with things, tiny little things like that just matter.
Yeah,
and
I can see that, but then there's still the iOS is still there, and I just have that different feeling when I use One UI. It's like going home, like coming back to your nice place where everything's in the place that you wanted it to be, and like you've set it up in a way that's yours.
Yeah.
Whereas the iPhone, it feels like I'm going to a hotel, and it's the way that they've designed it, and you cannot change it. There is absolutely no way. Like, I can't change the grid size. Like, iOS is not designed for big screen phones. I probably should have got the smaller Pro, because iOS for big screens, they don't cater for it. There's no way to add in extra software toggles to make it easier to operate, or like add more apps to your home screen. They don't allow it. Whereas I think Android has that built in. They cater for bigger displays. And if you have a smaller display, then you can cater for that too. Like, there's flexibility.
Because the design itself, if we're just looking at it from a slab of phone, you still prefer this layout to how where was your take on the Plateau, for instance? Do you think the Plateau... Sorry, I've got my inflection wrong there. No, the Plateau.
Whatever it is. I do like things that uniform across, like it takes up the space. I don't buy into the fact that they had to do this. I think it was a design choice, and then they used the space instead of trying to cram the space into a thinner body. I feel like they under-engineered it to fit this design. But I don't hate it, like the Plateau. In the same way that I kind of like Google's visor, and I liked the Galaxy S10 when that had the similar sort of camera across the middle. I don't hate it. But I also don't know if they've balanced it well, like with how the cameras are kind of sitting there. There probably could have been a better way that they did that. But it's indifference is probably the wrong way to describe it, but I'm not bothered by it. That's probably the best compliment I can pay to it.
Yeah, I don't know if it is the story they're saying that they've now got. Well, we know from a fact from all the teardowns that we know that all the components are up there. Whether that was their design cue from the get-go or not, whether they decided aesthetically we wanted a phone that actually looked different this year. Again, just to get away from the naysayers saying that Apple, it always looks the same. Every iPhone, at least now, for once, we can tell when somebody's got the 17.
Yes. I have been stopped by people like my friends and people within the football club. I have been stopped more because I've been holding this than I ever did when I unfolded a freaking tablet in front of him. And that just said it to me, like what people's awareness is.
Take up is, yeah.
Hey!
We've got a man. And it was interesting when I was watching, because I watched a late night US talk monologues, and it was interesting. The day of the release last week, all three, Fallon, who of course had just been doing the Google presentation, Colbert and Kimmel, before he got axed,
He's
all
back
had
now.
the 17 Pros and Pro Maxes on release day. So Apple had managed to get those phones into their hands on release day for them filming that night. It was obviously no one but you and I and us sort of have noticed it, but it was the perfect product placement on the day of release. The three big American talk stars all had their Pro Maxes in their hand.
Yeah.
Priceless marketing, right?
Their marketing is great. Have you guys seen the Tim Cook ones where he goes and talks to finance people about how well it's selling and everything? You know, you gotta.
He's been on some podcasts, hasn't he, where they tried to bend the iPhone Air or something? Wasn't that where he said that vapor chambers were uniquely Apple?
There was that one, and there was one.
You gotta give. I take my hats off to them because they go in there and they, you know, when it comes to press release and marketing, yeah, it's a very well oiled machine.
And now I don't know if it's to hand or not, but we were talking a little moment ago about the Xiaomi 17 that's just coming out.
It's in the box.
And I was having a quick read of it, and apparently it was how similar it truly is to everything that's, I think it's there. So if you want to see what it looks like, it looks kind of very similar, kind of identical to an iPhone. Except they've got the screen on the back, which is an interesting notion. I haven't read what The Verge has had to say about it yet.
How actual perfect is it that there's an ad for the 17 Pro on the page that the Xiaomi's there? Like, that's a perfect
I've seen Samsung do that as well on my iPhone Air and my Don't Buy the iPhone, which is more like a buying guide anyway. But Samsung ads plastered those videos, which is quite cool to see.
I don't think they've copied
Apple
in the design. Like, how many ways are there to design the back of a smartphone? Like, what else is there to do? What they've done is actually take a concept they've had previously, which is a screen on the back, and just reintroduce it.
Reading the headline from The Verge, their top line is, a critic might accuse Xiaomi of copying Apple a little too closely in its launch for the event for the Xiaomi 17 phones, while a fan might say the company is trying to beat Apple at its own game.
I would say that when Apple puts a screen on the back in the same way, no one will accuse Apple of copying Xiaomi. No one. But Xiaomi's put a screen where Apple have had a Plateau. But I don't think the copying accusations is coming from the design. I think it's more or less coming from the fact that they named it the 17 Pro. And is it the 17 Pro? Did they do the 17 Pro Max as well? Or is it just the 17 and 17 Pro?
I read the naming.
Don't know. I haven't had a lot of time to do anything Xiaomi this week. But yeah, it's on my list. I think I was actually hoping in my kind of preview videos about the iPhone, when I saw the design about this Plateau, I was like, they've got to be putting a tiny camera in there, a tiny display in there somewhere, because it would make a lot of sense from a notifications perspective and quick glance. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the big thing.
Is that what they do? Is it a display or what is it? Like, what can you do with their screen?
I know nothing about it. I literally just got the box.
Sorry, I should have heard you when you said that the other day. when you said it before.
Daniel, you're right. It's called the Xiaomi 17, the 17 Pro, and the 17 Pro Max.
Like, that's the copying. The fact they're shamelessly trying to come up in Google searches alongside Apple, right? The naming convention. And
there's a watch as well that looks really good. Again, there's quite a few devices coming out of Xiaomi that I haven't had a chance to look at yet. But yeah,
it's from a Western market point of view, it's a shame because they've got the most incredible hardware, but I just feel like no one's going to pay attention to it because the launch isn't widespread. Like, I'm not going to be able to take a look at them. There's not going to be a lifelong Samsung user switches to Xiaomi because I can't get my hands on it here. Samuel Nam can because he's been flown over to their event. They've took him over there. And that's great because he's
week.
Yeah, he went to Munich for the launch event.
Yeah, I know he was in Germany this week. Yeah.
And he was showing me the Hyper Island. He was sending me some clips of the Hyper Island, and it's like, well, that's a dynamic island, just straight copy. Like, there's no ambiguity there. So whilst there's design, I would say hasn't really been imitated or copied. It's maybe inspired by. The naming convention and software features, that is just a straight lift and they're not even trying to hide it.
I do like how the island is done by those Chinese phones. Honor did a similar one earlier this year with their flagship. Yeah, similar functionality, but in a way that I wish Apple would do it, which is like it's a software thing rather than a hole on the screen. It is funny to watch how they get away with it in a way, right? To just blatantly copy. But there are things in the Apple thing that I wish Samsung would copy. I mean, you talked about earlier, you know, the on the camera side of things, that selfie feature should absolutely come next with the S26 lineup.
Yeah, there seems to be some real video stuff coming with S26. Like I've got an early build of One UI 8.5 on my S26.
I was going to mention, but I wasn't sure if you're allowed to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh well, I've made a whole video about it on Sam Mobile, so there's really no reason why I can't say it. But there's this new feature where with a log video, you can edit it and apply LUTs and color grade on the device itself, not just with a button. Like there's an actual sliders and stuff. So I really think the next generation of Samsung is going to put a lot of attention on pro video, and it's probably about time because, you know, Apple's been banging that drum for a while.
That's a huge one, for video, because I think I called it in January. I was like, why would they do this and not allow you to customize it further? To see that in 8.5, it's like, yes, thank you. Because
and I think if
the
you combine that,
I was going to say the next step is to allow us to actually load our own LUTs in there.
Yes,
that'll be even better. Because with AI tools now, not because you can. I mean, initially I thought I could sell LUTs, right? Everyone could then create their own and sell their looks. But with AI, how good it is right now, right? It's easy to say, I want this look of this film or this picture, and AI will give you the LUT. Now, I just want the ability to import that LUT into the phone, and that will be awesome.
Can you imagine
an awesome feature.
S26 Ultra APV video codec filming, where you've got that high professional grade with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, then you've got log, then you've got the ability to color grade on the device, and you've got Samsung DeX. Like that workflow of having one device that can be done for everything can kind of become a little bit of a reality. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is. Again, something I mentioned, the A19 Pro is such a powerful chip, but I feel like in terms of doing stuff with it, there's that limitation there. And I said it's because Apple wants to sell you the MacBook or the iPad to do that extra bit of work on. They don't want you doing it on the phone. They want it sent off by AirDrop over here, so you can then use Final Cut. Like I finally understood what they're about with it. It's that they want every other device to work with the other device, not just one device working on its own. But that's not my thing. I like having a device that does its thing.
And I would say that it's I mean, again, having used every single iPhone and pretty much every Apple product since Macintosh days. Yeah, I'm that old. I think with iOS 26, iPadOS 26, which no one is talking about, is like, that is such a huge change and probably a threat to Samsung DeX users, actually.
I'm getting my Tab S11 Ultra next week. So
there's a huge uplift. And even though it's not for me personally anymore, I mean, I used to just use iPhones and Apple stuff. I've realized last year that it's actually, okay, I can see why this is no longer for me. But I can now see, in comparison with the previous iPhones and iOS versions, how this one is probably the biggest update since the 13 lineup. I would say it's really that much of an uplift on a positive side. You know, time will tell, of course. But what I was seeing in the 16 Pro Max or the 16 Pro that I had, those little issues seem to have gone, and that's all Apple users will care about. Do I have a phone that doesn't crap out every 5 seconds, doesn't run out of battery or overheat? And I know you've got bugs and issues that you've seen, and so it highlights the fact that it's not perfect. No phone is. I'll get those issues with Samsung too. But just an example, right? Downloading this Apple Watch Ultra that I've had since day one, moving that from one iPhone that I haven't used for 6 months and no longer have it, moving that
this watch to the new iPhone was a 4-hour mission. You know, you have to be like, the first hurdle is you have to be plugged in and it has to be charged to 50%. And then you have to download the updates. And the amount of times it asks you, at one point, it actually asked me to type the password, my Apple password, into the tiny screen of the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into the phone and go, right, I can see you trying to use the keyboard, and it launches a keyboard on the phone. Oh, brilliant. So I can type on the phone. And then you type and it doesn't go anywhere. Honestly, it took me 4 hours yesterday to get the watch to go to watchOS 26 and be linked to the iPhone. But now that it is, the experience is lovely. But not many people talk about the hurdles that you got to go through sometimes to get into that ecosystem, to get it perfectly synced up and everything is handoff working perfectly with the AirPods and all that. It takes work to get there, but once it's there, it's nice. Yeah.
Watch updates I put right up there with AirPod firmware updates. With AirPod firmware, you never really know unless you look at that little tag number if you're up to date. I hate that.
It's potluck. Yeah. Sometimes it just goes.
You just have to leave one charge, and it's supposed to happen, isn't it? And then sometimes, and as you just said, with the watch, you have to be on a charge of 50%, and then it verifies it on the app, doesn't it? And then you have to sit what looks for ages to wait for it to actually come through onto the phone. And every watch update, I have updated this one. But again, I know somebody was doing it and sent me screenshots over the weekend. The servers, he just got a Watch Ultra and the servers just seemingly crashed for him. He just couldn't update.
It should be just works, right? Because it's my watch.
I was just saying the world's smallest violin. Sorry.
It was linked to my previous iPhone, which is still registered. It was registered to my account. So it's not like I stole this watch and trying to set up with a new iPhone, right? It was unnecessarily cumbersome. From an Apple perspective.
So I think we've given tech a fairly good ride on this episode. Should we just have a quick chat, sort of a couple of things YouTube-y that had caught our attention? Daniel, you were saying that A/B title testing has finally come to you.
Yeah, I've just used it for the first time today, actually, for my comparison video. I don't know how it's gone, so I might actually just jump in while we're talking about it. But yeah, I have got it, which is nice.
For me, the jury is out on that. I mean, it's still CTR based. Sorry. It's still
watch time based.
It's still based on average time durations. For those who don't understand how YouTube works, we can now put up to three thumbnails to be dished out to people and see which ones is performing better. But in YouTube's view, what performs better is the thumbnail and title combination now that gets you to watch the longest. So from a creator perspective, there will be times when the watch time isn't that important because the video is topical. It might be an iPhone launch week. And if I'm talking about an iPhone buying guide, honestly, I just want people to click on it first. And once they're in the video, then it's up to me, up to the content to be good enough to keep people watching. But I want the thumbnail and the title to be as... So for me, the important thing will be click-through rate, which YouTube doesn't let us choose. So it will say this thumbnail is generating this much average view time, and therefore that's the winner. I wish it would show, actually, this one is the one that's getting the most clicks.
Let me tell you what my three titles... Yeah, because
I've just left your page on screen, because obviously if we're looking at the comparison, the title I've got showing for me is the S25 Ultra versus iPhone 17 Pro Max. Ultimate comparison.
So I've got that one. I've got the same S25 Ultra versus 17 Pro Max, everything compared, an exclamation mark. And then the top one is S25 Ultra versus 17 Pro Max. Is this your best Apple in capital letters? Guess which one is winning?
Apple capital?
Yeah. Is this your best Apple? That's the one that's currently winning at the moment. 35%.
Same thumbnail. I've got different thumbnails.
Same thumbnail on all three. Because I feel like those titles kind of work with the thumbnail anyway. But yeah, the one that's a bit more aggressive, a bit more clickbaity, is this your best Apple? Currently has the highest watch time share. So I imagine that's going to be set and done soon. But yeah, it's currently number one.
I find it for some videos that you know is going to perform. For some videos, it might be worth actually not doing the test because
same.
With the test, you are basically telling YouTube, if you're going to show this to 100 people, they're going to show, I think that's what they do, right? They'll show 33.3 people, one version of the thumbnail, to three different groups and hope for the best. I think when the video is that good that, like my don't buy thumbnail using Apple's image, I knew that was going to be a banger, like, because it worked, not because I'm pretentious or whatever, because I know it's worked every single year. So this is the 6th time I've done it and it worked. So for that one, I didn't bother. I just literally copied and pasted my title from last year and replaced 16 with 17. That was it. And
you see, I got this view, and I don't know, I could be stuck in the mud here. The last 2 videos, I just knew what the title and thumbnail should be, and I just made one. I just knew it. It resonated in my head as I was recording. I think I did the title before recording, and I just knew that they would be the ones that I wanted. This week, at least, I had the phone itself to use. The week before, I was having to use library images. So both of those last 2 videos, I've just gone for one. And just backed myself that I was right on it.
I think this feature will be great for massive channels. So if you've got like millions of subscribers, this is good because it does what most companies do. Like in my other job, I do A/B testing for very minute changes. So on a website, say I don't know, a Dyson website, the color of the buy button, instead of a shade of blue, you'll be like a darker or a lighter one, and see which one gets the most click, over hundreds of thousands of clicks. Amazon does that all the time on the app. Very minute changes. And I think that A/B testing will be good for that. It's like, is it me wearing a red shirt versus a green shirt, getting more clicks? When you get millions of views, that A/B test is really useful. For us, we're trying to see, one thumbnail that will work well. And maybe we actually sometimes overcomplicating by giving YouTube 3 different thumbnails, 3 different titles. And maybe the best way to use this is to, I'm just guessing here, but will be to only make minute changes and say, is me holding with the right hand versus the left hand making a difference? Is the title in capitals or the title in lowercase? Kind of those sort of, rather than completely different, which is what I've been doing. I've been doing like giving YouTube 3 different options and see which one is best. The trouble, of course, is as you're recording the video, you got to be conscious that those 3 title options, you have to deliver on those 3, because otherwise they're not going to work. So it's tricky because, especially as a small channels, to be able to say, right, how am I going to use this feature effectively? Because, you have to, if you have 3 different titles, you have to deliver on them during the video.
Wish we could A/B test 3 different videos.
That really is 3 times the work. You're aware of that, aren't you? That genuinely is just made your week 3 times longer.
Yeah, no.
Something actually I just wanted to have a chat with you guys about really was, again, I don't know if it's me being derelict of playing around, ad settings in a YouTube studio. We have different settings. We can decide how we want them to place, how often. I just leave it default. Am I being naive there?
No.
I don't know if I'm playing the game right or not.
Here's something I found helps me, and I don't know because YouTube is looking for little gaps where to place the ads. So I found not using chapters, but using natural gaps in the content, and I do like a little music beat to say, right, I'm now changing subject, and that does for me 2 things. One is allows people to digest what I've just said. For if I'm talking about the camera, and then I'm going to move to display, there's a little 3-second gap in there. I've noticed YouTube is naturally choosing those gaps as the place to put the ads. And I think it works well. And it doesn't use every single one because otherwise it's probably too many. But it does space them out. That it's not going to be
pausing every 2 minutes, wouldn't you?
Yeah. If it's a 20-minute video, I'd say, 4 to 5 interruptions, and people can skip them is reasonable. And then I might add one at the end. If YouTube themselves haven't added one at the end, I might add another one in the hope that YouTube goes, all right, there's an opportunity here for us to make more money with this video. But you got to be conscious of annoying people as well, right? So if it's a sponsored video, I'll just let YouTube do its thing and not interrupt. If it's a video that I didn't have a sponsor on, then I'm more inclined to say, do you know what, I'm earning this, so I feel less guilty to add a couple more in there.
So, I mean, I suppose very pertinently, Daniel, on your movie that you just released yesterday, your 50-minute epic, what did you decide to do with adverts on that?
Nothing. I've dabbled it a couple of times where I've tried to insert my own ad slots where it gives you the opportunity to, and I've just noticed AdSense for those videos is garbage, like absolute garbage. So I just haven't bothered doing it anymore, and I literally let the algorithm gods of AdSense do its job. And sometimes people will pay more to advertise on the video, and sometimes they pay less. And I just let the gods figure it out and hope. I know for a long video it's going to work anyway, because I know people will watch for longer, and then YouTube will be able to put more ads in. So I know that's going to be higher ranked anyway. It might not be immediate, and it's a searchable topic too. YouTube loves searchable topics for AdSense, whether it be external from Google search. I noticed Google search is a massive driver of AdSense for some reason, because it's very hyper-focused people that are searching for something on Google and then click on a YouTube video. Like that's like must be their dream or something in a way. Which is
why this period is so good, because people are just searching iPhone 17s or whatever.
Versus S25 Ultra versus Fold 7 versus 16 Pro Max. Like, it's a really, I can see now why a lot of people make the switching videos, because who isn't searching for that? Like you said, it was a banger straight away. Like it's died down a little bit slightly, but the amount of subs that video has got me, so about 800 subs from 61,000 views, which is a very good return on a video like that. So I'm excited to see what this comparison is going to do, because it's already started. I've already just noticed a bit of a lift off in the last hour or so, that it's going to take off to the moon as well. So
in an hour or two, it will get lots of views. It's when US wake up. Yeah.
US wake up. Yeah.
Two other points I just wanted to round out on. Do you boys both subscribe to vidIQ?
Yeah, I don't use it that much, but yeah.
Have you seen this new banner? I don't know if I'm particularly behind it. Quick channel stats. I can see how much you boys are earning.
I don't think it's accurate, because
it's not accurate. But it's voyeuristic.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I can tell. I can confirm or deny.
What, you want me to pull yours up? Okay.
I don't mind.
Let me find it.
If it's public information, I don't care. I can just say whether it's good or bad.
I'm assuming as soon as you subscribe to vidIQ, you get this. I've got yours pulled up. Are you happy for me?
Yeah,
Alex.
I mean,
okay.
I don't mind.
Right.
Anyone can go and have a look, right? So,
assuming you're on vidIQ.
Just don't show your back end, but yeah.
It's if I drop that down now, there you go.
So estimated monthly earnings between $3,000 and $10,000. Okay,
US,
it's going to be at the low end of that for sure this month.
3 uploads a week sounds about right.
Yeah, I think this month is actually not too bad. It's about $4,000.
So I opened it.
It's a very broad range,
but
it is a very broad.
Yeah, I never got $10,000.
And I don't know what subscriber rank means. I have no idea what that's for.
That's just.
Isn't that where you rank in your country?
In the country, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
actually.
Maybe
is mine there?
I can pull yours up. You want? Okay.
Yeah, why not? Why don't we play this game?
We're all getting naked. I saw this the other day and I thought, why am I seeing basic stats of these guys? And then
in Mr. Beast's his platform has it too in the free tier.
Yeah, even TubeBuddy does that. Yeah,
poor old Daniel, he's only up to 2,000.
Yeah, that's inaccurate. Inaccurate in the sense that it's more than that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. So it's
it's undersold me there by a lot actually.
That's why I was quite happy to share, because I know it won't be accurate, right? Because each channel will have such a different CPM, and CPM is not public information. Yeah. So they're just
estimating based on niche views and video uploads and subscribe.
Okay.
Like they're probably factoring a lot of things, but it's not. It doesn't factor in where the audience is from. It doesn't factor in how long they watch for.
In the name of inclusion and transparency, then there you go.
And is that
this month? I'm going to get somewhere near to the middle of that, I think. So that shows you that this. Oh, actually, in sterling, not in dollars. So yeah, one upload a week is accurate. 40 minutes is about accurate.
It's definitely not a number to go by, right? I think that's probably not even useful for someone wanting to work with you. You know, why would they want to know AdSense earnings?
I feel like it's for people. I feel like it's for people who are wanting to get into YouTube, or they're building their YouTube journey, and they might want to get an idea of what a channel size above them is making. And
well, there you go. They see across the board there. Like, we pulled back the curtains. We told you we would give you the truth about running a YouTube channel. There you go. That's kind of the truth that you've just seen.
And the truth is, they're shit.
And lastly, because I've got to get on my toes in a moment.
Just to end on that point, don't go by that number ever in content creation, because that number could go tomorrow, and you're like, there's a lot more money to be made on content creation.
Other than that,
it's not going to be AdSense.
Yeah, absolutely that. And as I think I did put on our group this week, Medium's algorithm just loved it.
Yeah, you're getting back friendly with them.
Yeah, God knows. I keep waking up each morning. I've had one particular story that just has done ridiculously well, and every morning I expect to go onto my dashboard and say, "Sorry, that was our little mistake. Here's your normal $25." Yeah, I've had one story that's just gone through the roof. I don't know if I should mention money, if that's crass or not, but I mean, just one story went absolutely bonkers, and it's going to buy, it's going to pay the mortgage for a couple of months, put it that way. So
nice. You're going to buy a couple of iPhones.
That's what we all equate it to, isn't it? Shall I now go and buy the iPhone 17 as well, just to round out? And lastly, call to actions. I have tried at the last couple of videos doing it really low key, right at the end of the video, on the basis of, if people have managed to watch the end of the video, they've enjoyed it. Yes, that number's going to be lower, but they're the more loyal ones who've enjoyed my content. And if I then ask, look, if you like what I've done, throw me a sub, as opposed to the halfway through, bit of a car crash, but with more viewers active, where I've seen an increase since I've just left it at the back end. Now, that could be seasonal. That could be because I'm talking about things that people actually are very interested in buying at the moment. I don't know. But
very, very simple equation for me. The more I mention, the more subs click the sub button. As annoying as it is for existing subs, we have to mention it. If I forget to mention it, I won't get as many subs.
So you wouldn't be afraid of mentioning it a couple of times in the video then?
I do mention at least once, and I try to keep it after I delivered something. Right? I don't ask at I don't ever ask at the beginning, because I see a lot of people before they start the content, they introduce themselves. They go, "By the way, guys, subscribe." It's like,
you haven't given me anything.
You haven't given me anything. Give me a reason. So I do that. I'll deliver a couple of things. I say, okay, there's some use in there. Now, if you haven't subscribed, it'll be good to. So, and I keep it short now. I try not to. Sometimes I'll milk it. If there's no sponsors, I'll milk it for like 30 seconds. And I'll just say, guys, it's 1 a.m. here. I'm working late to get this content out. Just to say, it's free content, but
you do put yours late in the videos quite often, don't you?
Right. Literally one of the last things I say. Or if I mention that there's an upcoming video, like a comparison I'm working on, or that video is coming, hit subscribe for that.
Yeah.
But then that's it. Yeah. That's the extent. I'm the same. Saying it at the start of a video. I heard Marquez say it once in a podcast, and it kind of stuck with me well before I even started a channel, that you haven't offered any value. There's been absolutely zero information. That I don't know who you are. Why are you telling me to subscribe to you when I don't know what you're offering me?
I think that there's an argument for doing it at the beginning, but it's not for me. I think when you do it at the beginning is for, if you can see, for example, like, and I watch a podcast called Diary of a CEO. He does it at the beginning.
Yeah,
he does it immediately after. He delivers the intro, and then he does it like a cold stop, and he talks about like for a minute.
Because he does his stats as well, doesn't he? I can see that 68% of you aren't subscribed yet, and he does the whole thing.
But that's a good use case for asking at the beginning, because he's going to be here for an hour, and he can see that people are watching and coming back to watch it, but not subscribing purely because they forgot to. I think in that scenario,
does that too. Super Saf was doing that as well, actually, where he says how many people are watching but not subscribed, and I think that's who he must be talking to at that point, not brand new people. And I get that. That's actually a logical argument to make about it.
Yeah. And if there's a subtle way of doing it, I think it's just annoying for people who haven't seen you before. Like, and you're not famous. I mean, none of us are famous, right? So I think in our case, it's going to be a bit cheeky to say before you deliver anything, to say at the beginning. I might experiment with it, to be fair, but I just don't feel as comfortable. I think you have to give something first and then ask.
I've very much, this last couple of weeks, just tried to put it right at the end, kind of take and leave out your book, Daniel, just thinking, right, if you've actually thought I've given you something, then I'm probably going to earn a sub. And certainly last week's video did well for me. But that could...
It's worked for me. It's pretty much the method I started with, and it's got me here where I am. So
I think I like it.
Change it now.
It's not disingenuous. You're actually sort of saying, you're putting yourself out there, aren't you? Saying, if you think I've given you what you clicked on this video for, and you've made it through 15 minutes, chances are you kind of liked it. So don't forget, help me out. Just, cost you nothing. Give me a sub.
But
and if your viewers haven't taken this as a hint, hit subscribe.
Yeah. And I think...
Oh, by the way, do you know this is our 95th episode? Before the end of the year, we will turn 100.
5 more.
I was
going to say, though, if you're asking at the end, you are actually potentially throwing away some subs, right? Because some people will enjoy your video and will leave early because they would have got what they came for.
Yeah.
So I think that it might be worth experimenting and asking maybe, if a video is 10 minutes long, at around 6-7 minutes, right? Instead of 9-10 minutes.
I usually have the intention. There are some days where I go in like, right, mention subscriber in the middle or mention the memberships at the middle instead of a sponsor. And then I get in front of the camera and I completely forget. And then I get to the end of the video, camera's turned off, and I jump down to start editing. And I'm like, shit. I'm not turning that camera back on, especially when I don't have a studio, which is coming soon. So,
for instance, on that one we were talking before we were recording, you said on that 50-minute video, you kind of sat down, started making notes. You had no idea it was going to end up being a 50-minute video. Did you remember to put a call to action in there?
I did at the end.
Right, yeah.
Again, at the end.
I know there you got on a flow. You just said you started rattling on and it was a point after point after point. And that's when it's really easy to forget to do the things that you've got to do, isn't it? Because you get in that moment and you're enjoying what you're making and you forget to do the business side of it, which is...
I've made 21 subs so far from this video and 4.4 thousand views. So
where's your high points? Where's your high points?
High points. Far out.
You've got to ask that as well now, isn't it? So annoying.
Oh, God, high points.
Yeah, I don't ask it for the very reasons we talked about before, because it dates it so quickly. I think, Alex, I saw one of yours recently. You did mention it.
I'm asking because whether it dates or not, I figured, I said, okay, well, let me see what the worst thing that could happen is someone is watching that video 6 months from now. They go, right, I can't click it now. But actually, my videos... mostly, especially right now, they don't have that long shelf life anyway. So I think if a video is green, if it's going to be like what's it called, evergreen, then maybe don't mention it. Or I've been actually saying in the pinned comment as well.
That's a good idea.
That you can change, right? After a week, you can go back and edit it. If it's a feature and YouTube is doing stuff with it, so I think it's worth pushing, even though it's bloody annoying.
Sounds annoying too. Oh yeah, that's hype. Come on, like and hype this.
It sounds a throwback to 90s radio, doesn't it? Like and hype.
Yeah, it really does. Like
it feels
music,
FM radio. Yeah,
it feels unfair as well because it goes by number of subs, right? So my points, if each hype is 140 points,
right?
I don't know how many hypes you get, how many points you get per hype, but 140 seems really low for me. It's like because not getting that many.
It can be it can be anywhere from 140 to 280 for me. I think for some reason I don't know. I don't check it.
What is it based on? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. There's some leaderboard. And I'm like,
I think it goes to a leaderboard, doesn't it?
But what dictates? Because I've hyped smaller channels that say like 1,500 points. Like, geez, I wish I was getting that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, samesies.
I was just quickly seeing if I could look back on last week's video because I think that did okay on hype points.
Are you asking for it though?
No.
All right.
No, I can't. Where's the metric on the mobile app?
It's in the if you go to the specific video and go to reach Oh, engagement. Sorry, engagement.
which makes no sense.
There you go. Lifelong Samsung user switches to iPhone, has 14,500 hype points and got 51
That's a
hypes.
lot. Yeah, that is a
But
lot.
look at that average watch timeline for me compared to what I normally get.
That's incredible. That's like Mr. Beast level. Yeah.
People hit and stayed because they're like, let's watch this guy rant about switching to iOS.
I won't.
Anyway.
I'm sure I got about 10,000 hype points or something last week on that one.
I got 42,500 on my don't buy the iPhone.
If
so that's a lot, but
that's a good amount.
Yeah,
that video banged for you. You're like 200 and something thousand.
It's still going because people are still probably looking at it so which one to buy, and it's a good amount of cash as well. Nearly 2,500 subs.
Oh,
yeah,
wow!
It's a good. It's gonna get to 250K, and it does that every year. Is that one video I know it will do well? This year I actually screwed it up.
You did it late, didn't you?
I was
normally do
a
it
day
before.
late. So a day late, yeah. And I was in Germany and I couldn't do it sooner.
So last week's video got 11,500 hype points, 18 hypes, and 11,500 hype points, and that was on 45,000 odd views.
Take those hype points to Apple and buy something with it.
Hey, you know I'm going to do that. I'm going to cash them in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're probably rambling now. So I think we've delivered. I think we could actually genuinely ask us up. We will be back in a couple of
500. Let's get to 1,000.
Come on, yeah. We need by our 500th episode. We need to get to cross that landmark. And will you have an iPhone Air in 2 weeks' time?
I don't think so. Should I give the verdict about whether I'm returning this or not?
Yes,
I'm not returning it.
Okay, there's the cliffhanger for next week.
No, I'll give it a reason now. I'm keeping it for
science.
I'm keeping it for science and for the S26 Ultra comparison when that comes in later in the year. I figure why not?
Yep, you got it now exactly. It's set up.
My decision is whether to stick with the Pro Max or the Pro because I've got the Blue Pro.
I would say the Pro. The Pro, just from an iOS being not very good. Right? Yeah. No. Yeah. That's another question altogether. Anyway, we are. We'll
let you get on with your days now. Thank you as ever for watching. And don't forget, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, we are bound to say, please do leave us a 5-star rating because, again, it does help on that algorithm as well. And we are picking up listeners and viewers on Spotify episode by episode by episode. So thank you, everybody, for supporting the show. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. See ya.
Bye.